Rachel, thank you so much for being with us again. This is our second time together. You're such an extraordinary human being. You've been in this world for decades and you're multi-passionate and you come with this driving force. It puts you in lots of different situations from apps to classes to running your new Move With Me books to now your latest offering to the world is All Through the Crown, a book all about chakras, which I want to speak to you about because it is a topic that I think a lot of us want to teach about, but there's, some misconceptions or some hesitation about what it really is. So to get started, will you share with us, Rachel, what inspired you to write this book?
Well, what inspired me was I was going through my adult training in 2007, and my boys were 1 and 2. There weren't kid resources, and I never heard the term chakra before until my training. And I was like, oh my gosh, this concept is really resonating me. I felt like this 1,000-year-old millennia teaching made sense because I'm a very visceral person. And so when it was talking about, if you have a lump in your throat and you're maybe afraid to speak your truth, I'm like, I feel that. Or if you have butterflies in your stomach because you have a gut feeling and you're not listening to it and you're arguing with yourself, that chakra concept in different parts of the body made sense to me. And there weren't resources when my littles were little. And so I just started making up stuff and teaching it in a kid-friendly way for my kids. And now I get to share it with other people's kids.
Right. And I think that's one of the misconceptions, right, Rachel, is that we hear yoga, right? I think a lot of us listening are beyond this, but probably people that we work with or we speak to our family members, they're used to hearing yoga as seen on the front of the magazine or, as the physical postures, right? And so what we know by taking our teacher training, right, we have different layers of our body and energy body is one of them. And that's where we can experience these chakras. So, how do you explain chakras to families and educators in a way that makes sense that's more concrete for children?
When you asked this question, I thought it'd be fun if I did a little adult story time. And in the back of the book, I have a Dear Grown Up section with education in the back. And I'll just read like the first two paragraphs. Dear grown-ups, have you ever felt a lump in your throat or butterflies in your stomach when you're worried or scared? These common reactions show us how our emotions and thoughts impact our physical bodies. As a mother and a mindful movement educator, I wrote this song for my children because I wanted to teach them a playful, peaceful, and purposeful way to connect with the location of their body, generating the source of different feelings. So we know children have really, really big feelings. And to me, that's the way I understand the chakras, is that our thoughts in our mind. And when we think about the word chakra, it's like sound, it's pronounced in Sanskrit like you're saying chocolate, um, chakra. And Sanskrit can also be another intimidating like barrier for people. And if we just break it down to root languages like Greek, Hebrew, Latin, it's an ancient language, and the literal translation is wheel or spinning disc. So you have these energy, we feel it. We feel the spinning of our hearts. We feel the spinning. It's energetic. We don't see it, but it's something we feel in our bodies. So that's kind of the simplest way. And also, I think of the word emotion, like it's energy in motion, if
Yes,
that's kind of the way
right.
my brain thinks about it.
Right. And I think that speaks to where our kiddos and us as grown-ups are right now in this world, this disconnect between our mind and our bodies, or our mind and our energy, right?
Mhm.
And so how do we bring so this book is helping us to use these tools, right? To sing our way and move our way through the chakras. Can you speak about how do we help children build that connection for them to understand where those chakras, those spinning discs show up in their bodies?
Yeah, I know we have a linear view of the chakras too, which I always find being really careful about having a linear way of thinking, but we do think linearly but like you think about like the chakras are going up, right? But they also go down. And I'm also careful about being like, it's green in your heart, like it's blue in
Mm.
your throat. I think the visuals are really great for the visual learner, but also not necessary.
Mm,
Especially like the colors can give you a framework, but the colors came way after the chakra system was created. And so I really want people when they see this to be flexible and open
mm,
and not linear in the way of thinking and you just using it as a tool. Because not everybody who feels nervous about something or can't speak to something, they may not feel it in their throat.
mm,
They might feel it in their shoulders. So I'm super careful. So I just use it as a map. Yesterday I had a really cool experience. This could be, I was, I never done this before. I was doing an author visit and I usually just read and sing the book and then I go through some of the questions and the meditation. And they were like the most mature first graders. I walked into the class, were like, good morning, good afternoon. I was like, well, hello. Um, and so basically I said, oh, I have a note back here in the back of my book to the grown-ups. Do you want me to read you the Dear Grown-ups section? And they were the most attentive. They wanted to hear what I was going to tell the grown-ups. And this little kid raised his hand and he said, on Saturday, I was leaving my friend's birthday party and and my heart was beating really fast because I was just so excited about being there and I like didn't want to leave. And that to me was that magic moment. The idea is making the connection, what's happening inside your body with your thoughts and your emotions.
mm.
And to me, that's, you can call it whatever you want. But I'm so grateful for the system and how it's been written out for us and laid out for us to understand ourselves.
Yeah, what a great story. I think any of those moments, right? That isn't as common, I feel like, because we're not outside with nature, we're on our phones and we're not listening to those signals and those messages. What about, as it makes me think of like the first chakra, right? The 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 first chakra, the root chakra. Can you speak about that? Because I feel like even if I know you move up and you move down, but that's one that I always come back to. It's sort of like literally my root,
Yes.
and that safety, right? And so I sort of think if there was one chakra I were to focus on, right, I feel like that would be the one. Can
Yeah.
you speak more about that? How do we teach the
Yeah.
root chakra?
Well, I think, it's interesting because the root starts at the tailbone, but it also goes all the way down to your legs and your feet. And I love that it's called a root because I really think using a tree metaphor is very helpful. So a tree is only as strong as its roots and is stable. So you can have branches flying all over the place, but if you have a stable root, the tree is going to stay in place. With kiddos, I do think having a physically like standing up in mountain pose
Mhm.
does stabilize the body physically. And then when you feel stable and strong, that actually does like, oh, I'm confident. I'm moving my way up. I am strong. So you're
Mhm.
starting from the root all the way up and asking the question, what makes you feel safe?
Mhm.
So when you get to know your students, yesterday I gave them a meditation and I sent them to their happy, safe place. It was so beautiful that most of the kids said they're home.
Mhm.
Sometimes I'm in a class and it's like Disneyland. I'm like, you can go anywhere you want. It could be a real place or a made up place. I mean, one kid said Pokemon
Mhm.
Land. Awesome. That's where you feel, you could be you. Um, but I think having the physical connection does help and asking the questions so you can just get a feel on what makes each student in your class or your children, what's safe for them. What does that mean? And then I move up. What makes you feel creative? What makes you
Mhm.
feel loved? What makes you feel seen and heard and having that connection? And I think like sometimes I think about the chakras as you have the crown, you have the third eye, and you have the throat meeting at the heart. And then you
Mhm.
have the feet, the root, the sacral, and the solar meeting at the heart. So you're having this integration from top to bottom.
Mhm. That's such a great reminder about the root chakra and that it does go down the legs because I've been thinking a lot about anchor. So I've put a lot of focus on my feet lately, just
Mhm.
thinking about my feet into the ground. And I think about last year, I went to a silent retreat and they offered us different ways to get into stillness. So it wasn't a meditation retreat, it was a silent retreat, right? It was a big distinction, and which I really appreciated. And so you could lay down, you could sit, in hero pose, on your knees, or sitting cross-legged, laying down, or standing. And I found myself at one point standing near a window, and as you say, that felt the most powerful for me. So what I took away from the weekend was different ways to come into stillness. As yogis, we're so used to sitting cross-legged, and I feel like as we get older, even so, it can be a little hard to create that shape with our bodies. But the
Mhm.
standing, to your point about it, reminds me of that root. So there's even more. There's that offering in the root chakra that we can feel all the way down our legs. I hadn't really thought of it in that way. And I
Mm.
think you're right with kiddos that's something very accessible, like that they can. And again, we're always thinking about there's not as much space when we're in classrooms or, in the hallways, whatever, but we can get into a standing mountain pose wherever we are, right? And so.
Right. And I think about also the elements. Elements are one of a really great way to have reference to the chakras too. So like if you think about it, your tailbone all the way down to your feet are the most dense part of your body. It's the closest part of your body to the earth. So that
Mm,
would be earth. And then
mm,
you move up to the sacral where you're working with your organs, which is like your kidneys and, like your bladder and kind of like those areas are more fluid. So that's water.
mm,
And then you move your way up and your digestive system, that's a little bit more fiery. It's connected to fire. And then your
mm,
heart is connected to air, and your throat is connected to sound, and your eyes are
mm.
connected to light, and then the crown of your head is connected to space and ether. And so working with the elements, how we carry all of them in our body is another way to teach that there's energy moving and there's elements in our system.
Speaking of that, then, I love how your book incorporates moving, singing, the elements, reading, literacy. So you've got the whole package in this story. Can you tell us a little bit about what your experience has been like adding these
Yeah.
elements in your story time?
Yeah, it's so fun because I think that there's so many, like our last interview was about multi-intelligence. And so
Yes.
that's the way I think when I teach, when I write, when I read is am I giving an experience for everyone in the room to connect with some part of themselves that feels really familiar. So
Mhm.
either if it's a song or if you can sit and look at the pages, like I even have like that mystery coding where, yesterday I was like, okay, my friends, we're going to read the book and I want you to pay attention to how every page has something different. What do you notice at the end? I'm going to ask you. So that's me targeting those visual learners. And so I'll just go through the book. And then by, after they get through orange and yellow and green, they got it. They got the pattern that it's a different color every page and also a different body part. And you don't see the full face until the end. So we get to talk about that part of the book making, which is pretty cool. Um,
Yeah. But on a side note, the illustrations are spectacular. So
oh, he's amazing.
congratulations. So beautiful. You
Thank
found you
you.
found that beautiful mix.
He did such a
So
beautiful job.
let's talk about adults too, because I'm sure that you feel this when you're doing story time as grown-ups. I don't know that we always are fully aware of how much our energy impacts the situation. I
Mhm.
think that a lot of advice that comes flooding at us as educators and parents and caregivers is what actions we can do to children.
Yeah.
And like right before we get on this call, I was like, blah, 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 about my teenager, right? All these worries I have. And I was like, wait up. This is me. This is me and my worries. That's where I need to start, not
Mhm.
on what do I need to do to fix her or to
Yeah.
change things or to wishing things were different. But the first step is I have to look after my own energy around all these issues of parenting a teenager. So, can you talk to us about that energy as adults and the impact?
Yeah. I think that we are the pace car, right? The pacemaker.
Mhm.
And we set the tone. And so when, I have like a lot of things I do for myself because energy like really sticks to me. I imagine a friend who's an acupuncture taught me this, an infinity symbol around myself and around you. We are
Mm,
connected, but we were also separate. And with that, I'm able, like, how do I have my own container, not to take, other people's energy, my kids, my students, my husband, um, on myself? And what kind of energy do I want to feel and want people
mm,
around me to feel? And when I'm grounded enough and not in my head, I'm able to set the tone. And I think when people like us do like a story time with movement and breath, you're not telling anyone what to do or how to be. You're in the embodied experience because breathing is going to shut your fight or flight response off and turn on like that rest and digest part of your brain on, and so you're going to have that experience. I think we, as parents or teachers or educators, working with our own energy, is to model it and have a moment to ourselves and be honest. I'm really
mm.
frustrated right now. I actually do that in mountain pose. Like if the kids are not listening to me and it is just like, I don't know, they're not listening. We've all been there. I will stand in mountain pose and I will put my hands on my heart and I will close my eyes and say, Miss Rachel needs a couple breaths. It's really hard for me to talk over your voices, and I don't want to yell over your voices. So I'm going to wait. I'm going to wait for you. And I take care of myself in the room, and it works. Not always, but it usually really it does work. Instead of like turning on a light. I think like a bell brings people back in. I think sound does bring people back in, but I also think silence can bring people back in too.
Yeah. Yeah, that's really powerful. And it doesn't have to be hard. I know our colleague Kira uses rhythm. So I
Yeah,
think I think the
she's
thing
great.
is about figuring out how you get yourself back to balance, how you
Yeah.
look after that root chakra, right? Is it coming with your hand on heart? And there's so much power in that, right? The hand on heart, the feeling on your chest, you can feel your heartbeat, right? That's
Mhm.
actually, in the energy world, right? That's about calming your nervous system. So is
Yeah.
that working for you? Is it standing? Is it sitting? It's about finding your own magic, your own miracle way to get yourself grounded.
I think every person's so different, but like being mindful, I think once you notice and you notice, you're like, oh, my
Mm,
energy. But when you calm your energy, you regulate yourself and then you co-regulate the space. Sometimes I mother myself and do this.
mhm,
Just put like a gentle hand on my head. And that's another sense of grounding because I'm not up
mhm.
here and out and just spacey. It's like, okay, you're gonna be okay.
Yeah, I love it. So
Mhm.
now we've spoken about adults. Can you give us some like your favorite ideas that are playful and easy on how to introduce? It could be one chakra, it could be a few of them. Like, what are your favorite activities to get them into thinking about their energy?
Well, the root is great because we get to stomp on the ground and feel that, sense of moving your feet. We play a game called Wind in the Trees. And so you partner up and you go into tree pose and you have to be really still and really connecting to your, base. Like you have to imagine you're a tree and your feet are like roots and they're going underneath and other trees around you are connecting you. That's what makes you really strong. And so they do that. And then someone's the wind, but you can't touch them. And you have to like try to distract them and make them fall. And the kids who are super, like they so don't want to fall. They want to be really strong and stable. So that would be like a physical connection to their root to feel empowered that they can stand with distraction. And then meditation, taking them on a journey of where their safe places and knowing that it's always in the corner of their mind. Like they can
Mhm.
access that at any time. Um, wait, there was one more that just came through, and then I just lost it because I'm so excited about all the things. Um, hmm, it will come back to me.
Yeah, all
Darn,
right.
it will come back to me. But meditation, movement. Oh, It's Kira Willie's song, The Shimmy.
Cute.
So the shimmy is it has all the great move you can make movements with it. It's like shimmy shimmy high, shimmy shimmy low. And then it twists the body, but then the part is clap your hands together, rub them real fast, make some energy and breathe and breathe. So I have them make energy. And yesterday we did this. I'm like, rub your hands together. I didn't play the song because they were 7 and they were a little too old for that song. But I'd use the concept of make some energy and breathe. And then we separated our hands about a centimeter apart. Feel your energy. Feel how far you can hold your energy. How far can you go and hold it? And then share it. And then I had them have a partner and like literally like our hands, like be with your partner, rub your hands and see if you can feel their energy with you. And they were like, I feel it. I feel it. And they weren't touching each other. And also, another thing is, we've all been in a room where someone walks in and they're super mad and they're not saying anything. And you could feel their anger like seething off their bodies. So it's really a felt experience. We all know what it is. If there's a that's why I think I love the chakras. It's like there's a language to it to help us give reference.
Mhm.
Um, but I'm also very careful about the dogma of things but it's also like thank you India, like I literally am so grateful, like I put it in
Yeah.
the book on the page with the heart to just be really grateful for the saints and sages who brought us this system and that we're evolving with it, we're learning with it, people teach it differently. um I think if we get to the root of the heart of energy and how it affects us, then it could really help us be in our bodies.
Now, I didn't ask you this before, but I'm putting you on the spot, but feel free. Would you be
Okay.
open to reading a little bit of it or all of it? Because I listened to it's available for all of this. It's available. Rachel's reading the book on YouTube. So if
Yeah.
you get on there and then you can play and you can do the book with her. But if you don't mind, because you have such a beautiful voice and it's
Oh
so
my God.
powerful,
Thank you.
because the coolest thing is, right, it's sung to the tune of the wheels on the bus. It's such a simple, powerful story. Would you be open to singing it
Yes.
for me?
You have to
Okay,
sing it
great.
with me. So every time I do the verse all through the crown, you put your hands, talk about having your sense of grounding with each page. We put our hands on the crown of our head and take a breath in between page turns. So
So
here.
for those listening, well, on the podcast, if you happen to be listening
Oh,
to this
yeah.
conversation on podcast, just come back to the YouTube video so you can see Rachel as well.
Yeah. And there are on any music platform, I have a bilingual version from Namaste and Play. And then I have the English version from Little Satellites. So Little Satellites is like an indie rock band, and Namaste and Play is a kids yoga band. And actually, I met Jackie through you, Giselle.
Oh,
And
yay.
that is how I was like, I love her voice. I want you to sing my book.
Yes.
And she did it in Spanish and English, and it's sweet. Okay, so the energy in our body goes round and round, round and round, round and round. The energy in our body goes round and round, all through the crown.
Wow.
Take a breath. Our feet on the ground are rooted down, rooted down, rooted down. Our feet on the ground are rooted down, all through the.
Crown.
I'm going to skip some pages and take you to my favorite, the heart. The heart in our chest goes thump, 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 thump. The heart in our chest goes thump, 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 all through the
Through the
crown.
ground.
Take a breath. And then one of my most favorite pages is the thoughts in our mind say, I belong, I belong, I belong. The thoughts in our mind say, I belong, all through the crown.
Crown.
Take a breath. And the last page is the same as the first page to close it all out with the whole person, with all the energy and all the burst of colors. And the energy in her body goes round and round, round and round, round and round. The energy in her body goes round and round, all through the round.
It's so beautiful. It's so
Now,
accessible. I like the page before too, our helping hands go
oh yeah,
open and shut. So
uh,
it's
it has some
also
familiarity.
yes, yeah, I love
It's
it.
funny when kids sing it. I always like move my body when I do the energy and our body goes round and round, but I'm gonna start shifting it because this is what I see kids do. The energy, like the wheels on the bus go round and round.
Yeah, yeah.
So I'm like, oh, I'm just gonna start implementing it because it's a very familiar movement for them. The energy in our
Mhm.
body goes round and round. Then we can go
Yes.
backwards too, which could be fun. So I'm learning as I go when I read it, and the kids are like my best teachers, honestly. Um,
Mhm. Well, that
they're
makes sense with the spinning discs
yeah,
too.
the
So that
spinning.
kind of looks like that.
Yeah, so that's going to be my new thing I do with them because I've been watching it. And then I shared it with my after school yoga class, and this little girl is second grade, and I sang it, and she goes, I get it. It rhymes with all through the town. It's like she made the connection herself, and I was like,
Yeah,
yes, it's exactly why it says all through the crown because it rhymes, but it's like works with the chakra system. And
yeah, I love
so
it.
she was just adorable and just kids are the best.
Yeah, it's so great. I love the story behind it because it's something you wrote for your boys, what, almost 20 years ago now.
And it was a
Um,
yoga app. It was called
yeah.
I Am Energy. And it's like on YouTube. My apps were obsolete, but I loved the song. I knew it worked. It's a great warm up before you get into like, your class. And but I was able to reimagine it and like change the
Mhm.
title and change some of the lyrics, add lyrics. Yeah, it's like literally like my whole life in a book right now of all
Hmm.
I've done.
Yeah. Yes, I highly encourage everybody to go out and grab All Through the Crown by Rachel Glowacki. Now, for parting words, what encouragement would you give to our listeners who are educators, parents, caregivers, therapists? How do we take that next step? How do we easily add the learning of chakras into our
Mm.
sessions?
I would say take care of your energy. Notice where you feel shifts in your body and find very simple resources that resonate with you and make it as simple as possible. It doesn't have to be complicated. There are journals that you can look at. I'm trying to see if I have anything at my desk in the moment. Um, I think taking it in small bites and not like fire hydrating yourself where you're just like, "This is so much information." Um, I want to say, what is her name? I'm going to send it to you. I do love, she does Subtle Body. Do you know who I'm talking about? She has a program called Subtle Body. I'll find it for you guys. But there's like two resources and Andia Judith. She has great resources where it's you could just take it in chunks if you like want to dive in a little bit deeper and like get to know, be like, what is my root chakra? Where is it?
Mm.
For me as a teacher, I find such deep connection with my physical body, but I also am really mindful not everything's emotional. And so I was getting to a point where I was like, oh, it's my chakra because I have this, or something like that.
Yeah, yeah, right.
Um, but finding that it does intersect and um, not to be so rigid, because that would be actually considered a chakra block if we're
Mm.
rigid. And that would be like energy isn't moving there because you're stuck in one way of thinking. I don't know if that answered your question.
Yeah, and what I'm hearing from you too, it's bringing that mindfulness steps, the sort of steps of mindfulness is first is slowing down, right? Giving yourself permission to slow down and noticing that first step of just noticing how your energy. I really love those two activities. If that was any, if there's one thing to not only to buy Rachel's book, but also those two of noticing when you're in a room, what could you tell me what energy do you feel? And once students, children and adults start to really tap into what is the mood, the energy in the room, that one. And then I love the hands together. I remember doing that one, I don't know, many years ago, and was like, oh my gosh, it's pretty profound when you have that first moment, the first feeling of your energy. So I think the noticing and just getting curious of what are you interested in? Which chakra do you want to maybe discover? What do you want to learn about? And as I love also what you were talking about is being really flexible because I do have a very masculine building brain. So for me, I do like the colors, I like the structure, but you gave me permission to kind of learn that and let that go and be more creative and
Yeah.
flexible and imaginative and open with it as
Well,
well.
and
So I
speaking of
appreciate you said that.
chakras, I did a whole summer camp for kids for set like a 5 day and did the chakra one chakra every day with a craft and a food. And I used your chakra cards, Giselle.
Oh,
Them
yay.
out and they colored the pages, they did the poses, and it complemented. I didn't have the book at the time. This is years ago. But like chakras are just like part of the way I think, and I
Yeah.
do think there are those connections that we can make. And I clearly am a little linear, right? I wrote them that way. I kind of like
Mhm.
made it that way, but also just being expansive and open-minded that I always feel like if anyone ever tells you in your life that this is the only way and right way to do something, run
Mm. Mm.
and learn and see what works for you and be honest with what doesn't.
Yeah, I love that so much. Thank you so much. So how do we find you online? Because you can't find this on Amazon. It says
No, you
whole,
cannot.
it's a whole thing. Yeah.
It's a whole thing. I'm working on trying to make it more accessible for people. But as of now, my heart is really like small businesses. So Kind Cotton is, I think of Kind Cotton as a Tom's Shoes for literacy. You buy a book, you give a book. They're a t-shirt company with really positive messaging. And so basically, anytime you buy anything from them, a book is donated to libraries. And they're up to like 250,000 library books right now. So you can buy my book there and at my indie bookstore if you can get an exclusive signed copy at the Bookworm of Edwards in Colorado. So those are the two places that people outside where I live could get them shipped to them.
Okay, great. And what's next for you?
I have two more books I'm working on, and I'm
Oh,
super excited about it. And I'm doing a book tour this summer. And it's just, yeah, I'm having so much fun. My kids just went to college and now I have a book baby. So it feels like really like just right timing for
mhm.
this to happen right now for me.
Thank you so much
So
for sharing.
movewithmebooks.com is where everything is.
Yes.
Movewithmebooks.com. Yeah.
Okay, great. Movewithmebooks.com. Beautiful.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for your time, Rachel. I so appreciate you.
Thank you, Giselle.
Talk soon.